What's up, everybody? This is Dark Macek with Brutally Delicious, coming at you with a review of Walk in Darkness's new album, Leaves Rolling in Time. Disclaimer, I currently have COVID, so sorry if I don't sound like myself. Here's a band I have never heard of before. I did take a peek at the metal archives before I started to get a glimpse at their genre. It described them as gothic/symphonic metal. And, well, that's a pretty good description. I don't know a ton of bands to start comparing them to. It's certainly less bombastic than most bands I would describe as symphonic. They're not a Rhapsody or a Nightwish. The first term that came to me was kind of like film soundtrack metal. And let me back up for a second, because Rhapsody is often called like film score metal, but in a very different way. I've often viewed Rhapsody as the soundtrack to battles in Lord of the Rings, or if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or something. This sounds more like the soundtrack to goths putting on a production of Hamlet. This lead singer could definitely play Ophelia. It's definitely atmospheric. Not like Winter Sun, just kind of like its own deal. Listen to it and let me know what term I should use. Let's get into some songs. The title track. I thought this was very beautifully understated in a way. There's a very good drum sound and lots of room for the vocals. As I often say, there's a really good chorus here, but this one specifically made me want to read the lyrics. I have no idea what Leaves Rolling in Time is supposed to mean, but it did pique my interest. With the exception of bands like Kiss, where every song is about sex, I'm notoriously terrible at picking up what a song is about. I guess that's part of the mystery, though. Like, you're so vain, you probably think the song is about you. The song Get Away. This is single material. I think it's more accessible than most of the album, but it does not betray their style. There's some good textures or atmospheres or whatever term I'm not using here on the chorus. Walk Close to Me. Here's another really good song. I got the idea that this one should have been the album closer, and as I got towards the end of the album, I'm sticking with this one. I think this one has good cathartic vibes, maybe? There's just some kind of resolution at the end of it that I think actually surpassed the end of the album. No Oxygen in the West. Good song, very strange title. Again, I'm thinking I got to read these lyrics because I have no idea at all what this is supposed to be about. The band's from Italy, so that is quote-unquote the Western world. Is this fantasy? I don't think I've been as perplexed by a song title versus the song meaning since Digsy's Dinner by Oasis. Around this point in the album, I'm asking myself, what is the band's stagecraft like? I think a lot of these compositions could be anthems, but the production is anything but that. When I was on 70,000 Tons of Metal a few weeks ago, there was a black metal band called Batushka that had just very, very ornate, gothic, I'm blanking on good words here, stage production. I viewed them more as performance artists than I did traditional musicians. I'm curious whether this band goes in that direction, except I do think the music here is very, very respectable. And last song I'm going to talk about here is called Elizabeth. At first I asked myself, is this another song about Elizabeth Bathory? Like, we've got plenty of those. I was very pleasantly surprised by how heartfelt this song was. It seems to be about, I don't know, someone once in love. I don't have lyrics for this. I'm probably way off, but I'm going to bet my entire 401k right now that this is not about bathing in virgin's blood. So this is definitely a different style than most other bands with a symphonic label, but I think it's always important to consider how the boundaries of music can be pushed. I mean, it's possible I'm just completely myopic and focused on the power metal style of symphonic music, symphonic metal, but I did think this band was very eye-opening and produced some very respectable music that I think should really have a visual component. And now I'm off to YouTube to see whether they have music videos. Rock on.